Yeah. Follow. Slaughter. Cut. Right.
If you ever wanted to experience medieval Central and Eastern Europe from a more realistic lens, and if by realistic you mean an unkind, unforgiving, and all-around not the best time to be alive lens, then this is the game for you. Welcome to 15th century Czechia. You're poor, your family is dead, and inside every forest is a pack of bandits waiting to shake you for your bread. This is Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Stop right there. I have to search you. What part didn't you want?
Why?
Orders of his lordship.
As I said before, Kingdom Come Deliverance is out to give the player a more realistic look into Europe in the early 15th century, and the style of the game is very clear with this. The game uses CryEngine to make the graphics as detailed and realistic as possible, and you know what? It works. The game looks beautiful and intricately detailed. Unfortunately, that means this game is also very graphics intensive. I had to turn my graphics settings way down to ensure my computer was running this game smoothly and not slowly killing itself trying to render those beautiful facial pores in the lighting. Beyond that, the sounds also play a good part in the realism.
Hey, get out of here! There's no place for the likes of you!
The sound design is rather subtle, nothing is exaggerated for dramatic effect, and the music only really kicks in for the big scenes. All in all, if you play this while not listening to anything else, your experience will generally be rather ambient as you walk along trying to complete your quests, be it for the main story or a side one. On that note...
It's Lord Capon. Get here, everybody. You, help him.
It's the early 15th century, and Charles IV, King of Bohemia and Holy Roman Emperor, is dead. The Holy Roman Empire had a golden age under his rule, and now his son, Wenceslaus IV, has taken the throne. Unfortunately, Wenceslaus isn't exactly keen on actually ruling the empire, as he is just indulging in the pleasures of being emperor. The synopsis in the beginning even states that he didn't even show up to his own coronation. Naturally, this angered the nobility, who wanted him replaced ASAP, so they called on his half-brother, Sigismund of Hungary, to depose him. Sigismund took this and ran with it, kidnapping Wenceslaus to force him to abdicate, and then proceeding to siege down Bohemia with his army of Cumans from the east. Your character, Henry, is the son of a blacksmith in the small town of Skalitz in what is modern-day Czechia. Turns out those in charge of Skalitz oppose Sigismund's rule, so the Cuman army arrives and slaughters the town, killing most of the villagers including Henry's parents and forcing the rest to flee. Henry barely survives the attack and now desires to avenge his parents' death by helping the Bohemian nobility fight off the Cuman invaders. Of course, this is medieval Europe. It ain't exactly going to be easy for a commoner to become a soldier, let alone one of any renown. That's where the gameplay comes in.
Why would I want to fight?
An honor end, friend. For honor. For the thrill of combat.
Well, if that's how you look at it.
So, shall we cross swords?
Why not? I could use a little exercise.
Excellent. I see you have no fear. Let's get to it, then.
The gameplay is where you start to see the attempts at realism unfold. I say attempts because not everything feels like it works as intended. I'll get my main complaint out of the way first, the combat. Simply put, the combat is not fun. It feels like a slog, not due to the mechanics themselves though. The whole combat starfish thing for attacking and blocking works fine, and there are some nice extra features to it like parrying and perfect blocking, but unfortunately the camera kills any fun I could have had with it. The camera does that thing to try and feel immersive where your head is always bobbing up and down or to the side depending on how you're moving, and it goes berserk in combat. Sometimes when I get blocked or countered, it's like my head just twisted 180 degrees and I'm trying to snap my neck in place while getting stabbed. Or how when I try to attack or block, the camera just starts flopping around. It's annoying, and because it's your head camera, the bobbing persists in everything you do, making it all feel wobbly and weird. Beyond that though, this game has a ton of little touches that I honestly kind of enjoy. Personally, I've never liked the whole hunger and thirst bar thing. I've always just felt that having to constantly stock up on bread rolls and water pouches so I don't die is just stupid. But other mechanics like your stats and the way clothes affect them is pretty interesting. For instance, your persuasion will be worse against nobles if your clothes aren't fancy, or if they're dirty or covered in blood. But at the same time, that will increase your intimidation score. Of course, the game doesn't tell you how to do any of this aside from loading screens, but, you know, you'll make do. I describe the stat system as Elder Scrolls, but good. You have a collection of stats that you can choose to slightly specialize in at the start, and you improve them over time by using those stats. In the Elder Scrolls, you have a stat for pretty much every individual activity in the game and skill trees for all of them. Unfortunately, this means that you also have to go out of your way to farm each activity on its own, so you won't be able to boost those stats otherwise. In Deliverance, however, activities are all put under the banner of a small collection of stats. For example, your endurance covers your stamina, stat checks, taking hits, pretty much anything that involves using your physical endurance in some way, as the name implies. This means that you can boost this one stat by doing multiple activities, and then use your skill points when you level up to choose how you will specialize your use of that stat by unlocking traits. And unlocking one trait can actually lock off others. For instance, if you choose the trait that boosts your charisma when in cities and towns, you're not allowed to unlock the trait that boosts your charisma when in the wilderness. This forces you to actually think and specialize rather than just farming to become a walking god amongst men like in Elder Scrolls or Fallout. The game is partially built around this too, as pretty much every meaningful quest in the game has more than one way to complete it depending on how you've built your character, allowing for multiple unique playthroughs. In truth, I can only recommend Kingdom Come Deliverance if you like games that want you to not just work, but suffer for your reward. If you do get this game, go in ready for failure. You will absolutely feel pathetic and useless for a large chunk of this game, because you will be. So if that sounds like your thing, give it a try. This has been TheRatMan, and I will see you all later.